welcome to my channel. My name is Ren and I make videos a couple of times a week about books and pop culture, and today I want to have a conversation about overconsumerism and special editions of books, because it's something that I've been thinking a lot about recently. I'm thinking a lot about the way that things like BookTok have changed publishing and book distribution, and I do think it's a really interesting conversation to have, because I have definitely seen there be a change in the way that special editions are produced and marketed, and it's become a completely different thing to navigate compared to what it was like 10 years ago. But before we get into that, if you guys are new here, I'm Ren and I talk about books. If you want to come check us out, feel free to subscribe. It's really appreciated. And you can check the description out for the links to my other social medias where I just talk all things bookish. I also want to preface this video by saying that I am a collector. I am making this video in the 10th Taylor Swift cardigan that has been produced, and it is the 10th Taylor Swift cardigan that I own, and I'm sitting in front of a bookshelf full of special editions and different editions of the same book over and over again. I have an entire shelf dedicated to Alice Oseman books. I have an entire shelf dedicated to Arian Dante. I have an entire Percy Jackson shelf, and I have an entire Red, White and Royal Blue shelf. I am not someone who doesn't collect. I'm not someone who is completely anti-special edition. I'm not someone who thinks that we should be not buying special editions at all. I am the first person who will see a pretty special edition and will jump on that bandwagon. I want all of the special editions. They are beautiful. I love them. And I have always been a collector. I've been a collector since I was a child. I always loved having special editions and different editions and nice hardbacks. And I've always been a merch collector. I always buy merch. That's who I am. I've never known how to be a minimalist. I don't think I want to be a minimalist. So I'm not coming in this video as like, hey, minimalistic anti-special edition thing. Like, I'm not doing that. That's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to talk about the way that that has changed, and the way that I think it's kind of going down a negative route because it's become such a thing. So I've obviously been making videos about books since 2013. It's been a hot minute that I have been on the internet and that I have been collecting special editions. Special editions were always reserved for that. They were always a special edition. They were an anniversary edition, like things like a Lumacrate. They were a subscription service. They were Folio Society, cloth-bound classics. A special edition was always something for a particular reason. It was a collector's edition. It had a limited run. A lot of the times as well, it was like really quite limited to places. Like, obviously different countries would have their own special editions, and that's different because it's a different country. So like, it makes perfect sense that different countries will have special editions. I have the Polish editions of Arian Dante because they're special editions, but they're beautiful. They don't exist in the UK. It's different. Like, they are a different country. Obviously there has to be different special editions in different countries, but within one country there used to only be like one or two special editions that made sense, right? Like Waterstones would have a special edition of something. The ones I can think of is like the Dark Artifices Rune edition. They were Waterstones exclusives and they were limited runs. That was it. Once they were gone, they were gone. And that's kind of how it was all. Or you'd have a book subscription service and there would be a special edition within that as well. Or there would be an anniversary edition of a book and that would be in there as well. And it makes sense. Like, you know, that kind of is logical. What is now happening is BookTok has blown up hugely, and it has changed the way that people talk about books online. It is an entirely different ball game to the way BookTube was, and it has resulted in publishers trying to keep up with the demands of BookTok. The reason for this is the BookTok is such a quick platform, right? Like, making a TikTok video does not take a lot of effort. It does not take a lot of time. You can literally pick your phone up, make a video, post it, done. The other thing is that there is a direct link to the TikTok shop, which means that you can be talking about something and someone can then buy that item that you're talking about within literal seconds of watching your video talking about that product. The speed in which things are purchasable is a lot quicker, and the scope of talking about these things is a lot wider. And I think that that has led to wanting to keep up with things. And I don't think that's a good thing. I actually stopped getting the special editions of the Shadowhunter books. This was before BookTok, because there was so many. It was so hard to keep up with it. It was so quick and there was so many and they were so expensive, and it became this, who can financially afford to buy all of these special editions that don't really need to exist? They're not there for any particular reason. They don't exist because of it being an anniversary. There are some anniversary ones. They don't exist because of this reason. They just exist to capitalize on a special edition. And I think that was when I kind of tapped out of the Shadowhunter ones, because there was just too many and financially it was a bit ridiculous. And I feel like that's happening now on an even bigger scale. We're seeing a lot when it comes to the Fourth Wing series, which is actually kind of what's inspired this video, and the Target exclusive, and how limited they were and what they were doing, and kind of how they're being resold. Like, they were bought to be resold and couldn't keep up with the demand, and it was this huge thing, and it was on such a wider scale compared to the conversation about special editions beforehand. I think people, if they did an online order, had to log on at like 3 a.m. Like, it was genuinely this like military operation to try and get this special edition of a book, and that's not what it should be like. There was also I think it was a Sarah J Maas book where different places had different chapters. I don't think that's fair. Like, you should not expect someone to buy multiple editions of your book in order to read the story. That's not right. The point of a special edition is that it is a special edition. It is not something which is necessary. It is not something which you need to have in order to read a story. It is not something which impacts your knowledge of the story that you are reading. So to have special editions that have different chapters in, I think that is silly. Like, I think Red, White and Royal Blue, there obviously was Henry's chapters, but it was a bonus chapter. It didn't add to the actual story of Red, White and Royal Blue, right? And there was only one, like, it was in the one special edition that existed. It wasn't like there was 5 different Henry's chapters and you had to get 5 different special editions to get them. One bonus chapter for one special edition is different, but when you have multiple different bonus chapters, you know, it becomes this hierarchical, like, who can afford to buy that many books? And also, why is that many books being published? Like, the resources that it takes to publish a book, you are publishing the same book multiple times with one difference. And that is where I think there is a problem. That is where I think that there is a publishing issue, because why are you putting so much money and time into the same book being published to try and make more money, when there's so many authors who would love to get published and whose books you could be investing in instead of doing 20 different special editions of a book series? That's where I think the issue is. I don't think it's fair. I think it is a huge thing, especially like books are expensive, and hardback special edition books are like, in the UK, like £20. In America, it's more, obviously, because of conversions, and that's the same worldwide. Like, you can't just have these special editions constantly being churned out. It makes them feel not special anymore. Like, every book has a sprayed edge, which is fun. I love a sprayed edge, but like, what's it for now? Like, it feels like it's just being done to be done. And I think there doesn't seem to be as much care going into them now, and there doesn't seem to be as much time. And like, special editions used to feel really special, and like, you had this big thing and it was, oh, you'd like, you know, invested in this proper special edition. And now it feels like that's not a thing. It just feels like they're being churned out and there's no actual care that's gone into them. The amount of sprayed edges I've seen recently where it's so faded and it's so thin and it's really not that great quality, because they're trying to keep up with the demand of these book sales, and that's just not working. And I don't think in the long run it's something that's sustainable. And like I said, I am a collector. I like to collect things. I love a special edition and I love a sprayed edge. I love a sprayed edge. I am the first person. If sprayed edges have no fans, then I'm dead. I love a sprayed edge. Sprayed edges are great. But I think the problem is the sort of consumption issue, and the publishers are trying to keep up with the demand of this. And I do feel like there should be more like it needs to go back to actually being like a special edition, like withholding bonus chapters literally so that you have to buy like 7 different editions of a book just so that you can have the full story is actually insane. Over like £100, like that's crazy on the same book with one difference. Like, and then to not make that available anywhere else, like it is this huge issue. I think it is this huge kind of like accessibility issue and financial issue. It needs to be a bit more regulated. I think there's just so many now. It's not sustainable in the long run to be printing this many editions of the same book. It's not, like it really is not. I just kind of look at the way that it's being like spoken about and the way these books are being consumed and the way these books are being bought and marketed and sold is just, it's like it's completely changed and it's become this huge thing. And I feel like I'd rather there be like a lot less special editions, but there be more care and more thought that's gone into them. Like, I mean, there was the special editions of Onyx Storm, and to literally keep up with it, they said it had original artwork in it, and it didn't. It was stock images. It was literally like recolored stock images. And I think that's, again, they wanted to do special edition and it didn't. And then I think back to the original like collector's editions of Shadowhunters and the beautiful like hand-drawn art that's in those books. And I think that's what a special edition should be. A special edition should be this, not something which has been hastily put together like en masse to just keep up with the demand, and no thoughts actually gone into what this entails. And like, it does make me sad. It makes me sad to witness the way that publishing is changing, and it makes me sad to see that it's becoming more of a money making machine, and the thought processes behind a lot of it is literally money. And I get that. They are business, they are a company, they want to make money, I understand, but there needs to be a bit more thought and care go into it, because it just feels just so like, just doesn't feel right anymore. I get my special editions now from like Illumicrate and Broken Binding and that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know, it just feels a little bit hierarchical, you know, like you like statusy, rather than like I'm a collector and I want this because it means a lot to me, if that makes sense. I think it's a really interesting conversation. I think it's a really interesting like debate to have and to hear different people's thoughts and what they think. So I'd love to have a conversation with you guys in the comments, what you think about overconsumerism, overconsumption when it comes to special editions, and what your thoughts are when it comes to how the publishing industry has changed. Like I said, if you guys are new here, then I make videos a couple of times a week about books and pop culture. So if you want to stick around and join us, feel free to hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell. And as usual, all the links to my other social medias will be in the description down below. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you're doing really, 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 really well, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.